So over the last few weeks of Lent and Easter, we have been reading these really familiar stories about Jesus' death and resurrection. And there are a lot of interesting, important characters in these stories. But today I want to talk about two of them. So when we think back about the stories you know of the passion of Jesus and his resurrection, there are two people that betrayed Jesus. Now, there are lots of people who made bad choices along the way, but there were two that betrayed him. And a betrayal is not just a bad choice, but someone who should be on Jesus' side, someone that should have been on his team and defending him, but they betrayed him. Who are these two people that betrayed him? Can you tell me one? Judas. We think of Judas. Who's another? And Simon Peter. So we have Judas and Simon Peter. And it's interesting that they both betrayed him, but we think about them very differently now. When we think about these two people that betrayed him, it's also important that we remember another person who betrayed him. Me and you and each of us. Every time we sin, we betray Jesus. And just like Judas and Peter, we should know better. Because we are Catholic school students, because we are Christians, we should know better than to betray Jesus. But when we sin, we add a little bit of weight to Jesus' cross. We swing that hammer one more time. And so as we go through this Easter season and we read stories like today, and we think about how Judas and Peter are different, we've got to make a decision for our lives. Am I going to follow the path of Judas, or am I going to follow the path of Peter? Because their paths are very different. We think of Judas as a betrayer, and that's what we remember him for. But Peter, we know as a saint and as our first pope. So they clearly went down different paths after their betrayal. So let's think about that and think about what path we want to take. You see, Judas, after he betrayed Jesus, Judas lost his hope. He despaired. He was so upset about what had happened that he couldn't trust in God's forgiveness, in God's love, in God's mercy anymore. If he had gone to Jesus after the resurrection, if Judas, even after betraying him, had gone to Jesus and said, "Will you forgive me?" what would Jesus have said? Yes, of course I would forgive you. But Judas couldn't do that. Judas had lost that sight of God and couldn't even think to face Jesus anymore. But Peter was different. And so we get this great story today. We have this great story in our gospel where Peter is out in his boat and he realizes Jesus is on the shore, and he is so excited to see Jesus that he dives in and swims ashore. He can't even wait for them to row their boat. It says 100 yards to the shore. Judas couldn't stand to face Jesus, but Peter can't wait to be with Jesus again. And that is the example for us to follow. So when you betray Jesus again, because you will, we all will, every time we sin, we betray him once again. When we do that, be like Peter. Dive in to the love and the mercy and the forgiveness of Jesus.